Welcome everyone. This is Challenge Lab of AWS Security series. This is lab in which we are going to migrate a database to Amazon RDS, Relational Database System. And the scenario is the cafe currently uses a single EC2 instance to host its web server, database, and application code. Meanwhile, the cafe business has grown. The order history that is stored in the database provide valuable business information that the cafe staff doesn't want to lose. So Martha use the data for accounting and Frank look at it occasionally to plan how many of each dessert type he should bake. Sophia has additional concerns. The database must be consistently upgraded and patched, and she doesn't always have time to do these tasks. Also, administering the database is a specialized skill. Training others to do database administration isn't something that she wants to spend time on. Meanwhile, Sophia is also concerned that the cafe isn't doing data backups as often as they should. So finally, Martha also want to reduce labor costs that are associated with the technical learning investment that's needed to manage database. So lab overview and objectives are: in this lab, you migrate data from database to EC2 instance to Amazon Relational Database Service. Specifically, you migrate a MariaDB database that runs on EC2 instance to MariaDB database that runs on Amazon RDS. You also update the Cafe web application to use new database to store data for all future orders. So after completing this lab, you should be able to create a relational database system instance and export data from MariaDB database by using MySQL dump. Connect to SQL client to an RDS database. Migrate data from MariaDB database that runs on EC2 instance to RDS database instance. Configure a web application to use new RDS database instance for data storage. So while we are starting this lab, this is the architect of the lab. We have AWS, we have one region in which we have two availability zone, two private subnet, one public subnet. Public subnet has EC2 instance, which is Amazon Linux 2 Apache web server, MariaDB, PHP, Cafe application is running on it. This has a IAM role attached to it, and the secret manager stores database connection parameters. A user access the EC2 instance using session manager browser-based shell. So by the end of this lab, we will have an RDS MariaDB instance running in private subnet 1, which can have a connection over TCP port 3306 with public subnet EC2 instance. And rest is same. So let me start the lab, and we have to wait few minutes before all the resources gets ready, and then we will proceed with task 1, that is creating an RDS instance. Until then, we can read a business request creating RDS instance for Cafe application. This is challenge 1. So after a conversation with Olivia, AWS solution architect who often comes in for coffee, Sophia decided that the cafe needs a database solution that is easier to maintain. In addition, the database should provide essential features such as durability, scalability, and high performance. In the first part of this lab, you take on the role of Sophia. You create an RDS instance that the cafe can use as data storage layer and for the cafe website. And you also connect to EC2 instance and analyze the detail of the cafe web application. So task 1 is creating an RDS instance. Your first challenge in this lab is to create an RDS instance. So let's go to RDS, manage relational database service, and go to databases and create a database. We're going to select MariaDB as it says here. For template, it says we are going to select dev test, and in settings section, name is going to be cafe database, and then master username admin, and master password, and confirm master password is this. So in the instance configuration section for DB instance class, we are going to choose bus table classes, and it is going to be db.t3 micro in storage section. Storage type is going to be general purpose SSD2 GP2. Allocated size 20. And for availability and durability, choose do not create a standby instance. And in connectivity, we have to select VPC as a lab VPC. And DB subnet group is going to be lab DB subnet group already selected, and public access, no. Existing VPC security group, which is going to be DBSG. Default, we are going to remove. Availability zone, choose the first availability zone in the list, which is US East A1. Database port, we need, need to keep it default, that is 3306 port. And in monitoring section, clear enabled enhance monitoring option, and let's create the database. So it says you don't have to wait for the database to finish the creation process. Instead, after you successfully started the database creation process, continue to the next process. Okay. And it says as in status that it is creating the database name cafe database. So task 2 is analyzing the existing cafe application deployment. So in this task, you connect to the existing EC2 instance that runs the current cafe application. Uh, Let us go to EC2 and then we go to instances. We select cafe server and then we select the public IP address and try to connect it with it. And it says hello from your web server. So which means that it is publicly accessible over this public IP address. Now it says to test placing an order. Go to cafe. It says go to menu and then change the quantity for at least one menu item to one. Okay, I will buy croissant. Okay, I'll buy two croissants and let's submit order. An order confirmation page should display yes, and which indicates that the cafe website is working as intended. Okay, thank you for your order. It will be available. Then it says choose order history, and the page shows that many orders were placed. Yes, so this was like order number 25, which is dated on August 22, and the time is this total amount. Next it says next you connect to EC2 instance by using AWS System Manager to access a terminal session in the browser. So in EC2 console, in the left navigation pane, choose instance and then choose the cafe server. It is done, and connect to instance. And we are going to connect through session manager, continue, and at prompt enter the following commands. So it says enter bash, then sudo su, and the second command give us, which is sudo su, give us root user account to EC2 instance, and third is EC2 user, and the third command switch you to the EC2 user account. The fourth command is who am I, sorry, and it says EC2 user, and then it says cd2 home, and then EC2 user. The last command switches your terminal to the home directory of the EC2 user. And now it says new business requirement. exporting data from the old database and establishing a new connection to the new database. This is challenge 2. Now that you have created a new RDS instance, you can move on to the next step in the Cafe's database migration plan. Next, you export the data from the database that Cafe application currently uses. You also establish a network connection from EC2 instance where the application runs to the new RDS database instance. So in this is going to be task 3 in which we are working with the database on EC2 instance. So in this task, you observe detail about the MariaDB database that runs on EC2 instance. You then export the existing order history data from the database by using MySQL dump utility. So to observe detail of database that run on the EC2 instance in the terminal, run the following command. So version is 15.1, distribution this, and MariaDB for Linux, yes. And first command was the status of MariaDB service. So MariaDB is 10.2 database server, and it says loaded in here, and status is active running, which is active from like last 16 minutes. Yes. So the output should shows the locally installed MariaDB database on this EC2 instance is running. Yes, it shows running, and it should also show the version number of the database. Yes. So leave the browser tab open. You use it throughout this lab, no problem. And on the AWS management console in search box, we are going to go to secret manager, and then in the left navigation pane choose secrets. There are 7 secrets stored here, yes, and we are going to select cafe db password secret. In the secret value section, choose retrieve secret value and copy the value to your clipboard. Let me copy this to a notepad. And now it says to connect to database that is running on EC2 instance. In the browser tab, type MySQL uroot p. Now password is going to be this. So it says welcome to MariaDB monitor. Now we are inside the database. To, Now it says to observe the data in the existing database, run the following commands, which says show databases, use CafeDB, show tables. Let's start from order. Let me again log into the database and copy this value and paste it here. Yes, so the table is displayed. That's about Cafe web application. These commands shows all the order that were placed, including the order that you placed a moment ago. This is the last order that we place of 2 croissants, which was valued about $3. Now it says enter exit, and it says buy. So to capture existing data in a file by using MySQL dump utility, run the following command. MySQL dump databases CafeDB your root p is greater than CafeDB dump.sql. It says enter the password, and the password is going to be this. So it says to confirm MySQL dump succeeded, run ls, and then you have cafedbdump.sql file here. Now to see content of the file, it says to cat cafedb. This is the content of the file. So now task 4 is working with the RDS database. In this task, you first answer a few questions about the RDS instance that you created. Then you confirm that you can connect to RDS instance. So in AWS console, we are going to RDS, and then database, cafe database. Now it says status as available. So answer the question about RDS. Okay, so to access the question lab, we need to go to AWS detail and go to this link, which I am going to open here. Now question 1 says, where is the RDS instance running? So the options are at region level, at the availability zone level, in an edge location. So here we have availability zone, and so I would select the second option. Now question 2, does the RDS instance have an IPv4 public IP address assigned to it? I could not see any public IP address. So I would choose no. And we also have to submit the answer. Now question third is, what is the name tag value applied to subnet in which RDS instance is running? Tip: you may want to open another browser tab and browse to VPC console to compare the information found in RDS console connectivity and security panel with VPC service subnet page. So the VPC is what was the question again? What is the name tag value applied to subnet in which RDS instance is running? Okay, so we went to the lab. And we select the subnet. It says private subnet, yes. And can we select two options? No. Okay, because we have two options available here. When I go to VPC, and your VPC, wait, Go to RDS database, cafe database. So RDS is running in this uh, two subnets, under two subnet. One is this and another is this. I'm going to open both of them. Okay, so one is private subnet 2, another is private subnet 1. Now I select this. This is connected to this VPC. Means private subnet 1, 2 is connected to this VPC and 2 is also connected to lab VPC. Now it asks about tag value applied to the subnet. So I'll come to this question again. And next question says how many security group rules are defined in RDS instance. So this is the security group. I don't want to open it here. I want to open it in the another page. Go to the security group and inbound is 0 and outbound role count is 1. So I would select answer as 1 and submit this. Now name tag value it says. But both of the subnets are attached to that VPC, particular VPC. We do have a diagram here in which RDS is running in private subnet 1. So I would select private subnet 1 and submit this. I was unable to fully understand this question. So no problem. Let's proceed with the lab. Now next is establish a network connection from terminal running on EC2 instance to a new RDS. So we are going to take the tips and let us first clear this and then we're going to MySQL u admin p host and RDS endpoint. The RDS endpoint with your actual RDS endpoint of your instance. Yes, I am also looking for RDS endpoint. Here you go. And you apply it here, and then you run this command. So now it says open the port 3306, and it can be done through adding an inbound rule. So you can confirm the security group setting by allow traffic on TCP port this from EC2. Okay, what I'm going to do is go to RDS database, then go to this security group, select this, go to inbound, edit inbound, add rule. This is going to be custom TCP and the port is 3306. Source is also going to be custom, and then EC2 IP address. Select this. First, let's try to run this command to check whether the port is responding or not. And RDS endpoint. So this particular command is going to use nmap to check whether this database is responding over a particular port. So let us like add an inbound rule to the RDS security group. Let's try to run this command again. So it is going to be TCP. Let's select TCP. Custom TCP. 3306.06 if config. So this is the IP address of this EC2. Let me put this into the security group. Custom TCP. Or /24. Okay. Now it says you can't add any rule. Initially it allowed me to edit this, but now it is not allowing to add. That's interesting. So now it successfully, I just run this command again and it says like this port is open. So that's good. Now let's proceed with the another command which says mysql and then you admin p host this. So this is the exact command in which we have to replace RDS endpoint. I'll copy it again, paste it here, try to run, and it says enter password, and password is which we initially entered, which is this one. Entered it and connect. So we are connected to the RDS instance. And next is new business requirement, importing data and connecting the application to new database. So in the previous challenge, you exported the data from database that the cafe application currently use. You also establish a network connection from EC2 instance to RDS instance. You now work on next business requirement, which is in this challenge, you continue to take on the role of Sophia to import the cafe data into the RDS database instance. After you complete the import, you configure the application to use new database. So task fifth is importing the data into the RDS database instance. So to import the data that you exported in task 3 to the RDS database instance, in the following command, replace the actual endpoint and run the adjusted command. Okay, let's copy this, paste it here, replace RDS endpoint. Initially clear. Let's paste it here, copy the endpoint. I am not using password, yes. Oh, sorry, my bad. Password is this. Why it is saying no file directory? There is something. So we'll do one thing. I'll try to connect with the instance again. So okay, now let's try to run this command. But that doesn't make sense. It says no file, but we have that file here. Host is going to be this, and we are importing this file into this host. It says no such file or directory. And via NIM doing ls, we have cafe db dump.sql. Yeah, I see. So we have small c. And let's copy this one. Okay. To confirm that the data was imported, connect to RDS and run the following command to connect. Yeah, for sure. I'm expert in running this command. I've run it several times. Let's connect. Okay. So then run this command. And yes, the output of the select statement should show at least 24 orders, and it shows 25. And then it says type exit. Yes. So bye. Next is connecting the Cafe application to new database. In this task in the lab, you connect the Cafe application to new database. You also stop the database that run locally on EC2 instance. So it says go to secret manager and choose secrets. Recall from an earlier challenge lab that cafe applications PHP code reference these values. For example, it uses the value to retrieve connection information for the database to connect the cafe application to RDS instance. Because the database connection information has changed, you must update these values to connect the application to our database instance instead of the database running on EC2. Didn't get this one. You also stop database that run locally on EC2. So let's try to submit and then we'll see in the submission report where we are lagging. I am particularly missing this step only, I think. And I get the point of this task which says that we have to stop the initial database and we need to migrate to the new database, right? But then in uh, what does the role of secret in this task? I am not exactly sure. But let's check the submission report and grading. Yes, of course. Now task 6 is pending and SG configuration is also pending. Rest is done. So in submission report, so error is in the inbound rule defined on the cafe DBS GRDS, which says it should only allow port this from a specific security group resource. Okay. And then there is an error in task 6 which says your local MariaDB is still running. You will need to have it in a stop state. Let's go to EC2. Then RDS. This is the new database, right? Okay, let's try to do this task again. In this last task in the lab, you connect to cafe application to the new database. Yes, I know. So it says go to secret manager and then select secret and recall from earlier challenge lab that cafe application PHP code reference these values. For example, it uses value to retrieve connection information from database. I does I don't know what does this mean. Then is connect the cafe application to RDS. Okay. Because the database connection information has changed, you must update this value to connect the application to the new RDS. Yeah, okay. Now tip 4 is after you no tip is only after you update the database, the application is connected to use this. Let me go to EC2 and then go to instance, select this one and go to storage So let me try to connect it in this way. So we need security groups for database connection, which is okay. I have no idea what I have to do in this task, so I'll finish it. I will finish this lab here and I will learn how to connect and how to particularly disconnect a database from EC2 instance, which was MariaDB initially, and then how to connect it to the RDS. So now update from the cafe says everyone at the cafe is happy, not look likes because we haven't finished the task. With the result of the database migration, Sophie and Nikhil now have more free time on weekends, which means that Frank and Martha are saving money on labor costs. Sophia takes a minute to relax with her friend, however, she already thinking about improvements. A good next step would be to reduce the size of EBS volume that the EC2 instance uses. They could also save on expenses by changing the EC2 instance type to smaller size. Because database no longer run on EC2 instance, the instance now has extra hard drive space. So, and it might not need as many as CPU and memory resources. Uh, Let me do one thing. Ask ChatGPT that I want to deattach the database from my EC2 instance in AWS, and I want to connect it to RDS database. Stop. And I want you to list the commands that I can use in EC terminal to complete these tasks. Just a sec. Let's try to run this command. Okay. Now it says load this to confirm that application still works. Okay. I'll go to RDS EC2 instance cafe server. I'll try to open this one. Should be through http:/cafe. Yes. Go to menu. Okay. Connection failed. That means we stopped the database that was running on EC2 instance, but we still need to connect it to DB2. Sorry, the RDS database, right? So let's try to go with this command, which we are going to replace RDS endpoint with this username with admin password. Maybe this. Let's try to refresh. Connection failed. But I think that we have connected this particular RDS database to the this EC2 instance, but still let's try to exit here. And it should be so the result remains same. I need to figure it out, but yes, uh, we have completed lab up to this, except like task 6. So yes, thank you. And most probably I'm going to see what was missing in the steps we have done so that the EC2 instance can use new DB and as well as this configuration that we have entered uh, could be corrected. So thank you. And this lab is completed except few steps. Thank you.